Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is so wonderful to have you with us again. We are back with another special edition in our Building Humans series.
It is.
And if you've been following along, you know this series is, well, it's something a little different for us. We aren't just looking at, tech trends or history.
No.
We're looking at the fundamental architecture of how human beings develop.
It's good to be here. And yes, Building Humans is really the perfect title for this work. We're, in a way, trying to reverse engineer the adult by understanding the child.
Exactly. And we have to give credit where it's due. This series is a very specific collaboration between the Al-Mahaba Foundation.
Wonderful organization.
Oh, just incredible. And I just loved your motto, love for all and service to all, and the Dar el-Kalima Publishing House. These are two organizations that are just so dedicated to the service of humanity through knowledge.
They really are. And the material they've provided us with today is, well, it's going to hit close to home for a lot of people, I have to say. It certainly hit home for me during the research.
Oh, absolutely. Today, we are tackling something that I think every single parent, every teacher, or honestly just anyone who's ever been around a child for more than 5 minutes
Has struggled with.
has struggled with. It is the daily battle, the war against the clock.
The universal struggle. It really is the backdrop of almost every single morning in a family home.
I just want to set the scene because I think we've all been here. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's 7:45 a.m. You're standing by the front door.
Right.
You've got your car keys in your hand, maybe a coffee mug that's like dangerously close to spilling.
Yeah.
Your heart rate is already sitting at about 110 beats per minute.
At least.
Because you have a meeting in 20 minutes, you're sweating through your work shirt, and you're screaming, maybe for the 10th time that morning, hurry up, put your shoes on.
The doorway standoff. It's a classic family tragedy.
It is a tragedy.
Yeah.
And it feels like a battle. It feels like that one moment captures the entire clash between our world, the modern world of high-speed internet, fast food, instant messaging, quarterly targets, and the child's world. Because the child's world seems to operate in a completely different time zone.
Well, it's not just a different time zone. As we dug into the research for this, specifically looking at Maria Montessori's work in The Secret of Childhood, it became so clear. It's effectively a different dimension.
It feels like different planets. It's like we are living in a racehorse stable. We're constantly training for the Kentucky Derby. We're slapping the flank saying, go, 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 efficiency, speed.
Right.
And our children, they are on a slow, mindful, meandering walk through a botanical garden. They're stopping to smell the roses and the dirt and the bugs.
And we are standing there with a stopwatch just wondering why they aren't running.
Exactly. And so the question we're asking today, based on this incredible source material, is why? Why does it feel like this? Why is this the default setting? And more importantly, and this is the part that scares me a little bit, what are we actually doing to them when we try to force our speed onto their lives?
That is the profound question. And to answer it, we're going deep into the secret of childhood. And I have to warn you, and our listeners, Montessori pulls no punches here.
No, she doesn't.
She is incredibly direct about the consequences of this war against the clock.
I was reading the notes, and I literally had to put them down for a second. It was,
The core concept we're looking at today is rhythm. But Montessori doesn't just look at rhythm as a musical beat or, a schedule, like nap time is at 2 p.m.
Right.
She identifies a fundamental conflict between the adult and the child regarding the passage of time, and she drops, a provocative truth right at the beginning that might make some listeners uncomfortable.
It stopped me in my tracks.
She suggests that hurrying a child isn't just annoying for them. It isn't just a matter of us being impatient. She argues that forcing a child to rush against their natural rhythm is a form of spiritual violence.
Spiritual violence.
Huh?
Let's just let that hang in the air for a second. That is a massive statement.
It is heavy.
I mean, when I say hurry up and put your shoes on, or come on, we're going to be late, I don't feel like I'm committing violence. I feel like I'm trying to get us to school on time.
Of course.
I feel like I'm being a responsible parent. But you're saying, or, Montessori's saying, that we aren't fighting the child's stubbornness in those moments. We're fighting something much, much deeper.
We are fighting their biology. We're fighting a law of nature. And if you look at the history of humanity, or even just physics, whenever you fight a law of nature, pain is usually the result.
Okay, so let's unpack this, because I think we need to understand the why before we can even begin to fix the how. If I'm committing spiritual violence before I've even finished my coffee, I need to understand what is happening under the surface. Let's talk about this clash of two worlds. The outline describes it as The bullet train versus the explorer.
That is a very, very helpful analogy to visualize the difference in perception. Let's start with us. Let's look at the adult ego. How do we, as modern adults, view our movement through the world?
Fast, efficient, direct.
Exactly. We are the bullet train. Think about what a bullet train is designed for. It has a destination, it has a schedule, it goes from point A, point B in the straightest, fastest line possible.
It's all about the destination. The train doesn't care about the little villages or the fields it passes.
Correct. The bullet train is focused entirely on the arrival. The journey is just a transaction. It's a cost of time you pay to get to where you're going. Efficiency is the god we worship. We want to do the most work in the least amount of time. That is how we measure success.
Okay, I am definitely the bullet train. That is my entire life in a nutshell. Now, contrast that with the child.
The child is not a passenger on that train. The child is a mindful walker. Or, as we've been calling them, the explorer.
The explorer, I like that image.
Because the mindful walker's focused entirely on the journey. They're focused on discovery. To the walker, the destination is. It's almost irrelevant. In fact, most of the time, there is no destination. The texture of the ground, the shape of the leaves, the way the light hits a puddle, the tiny little pebble that got in their shoe, that is their reality. That's their whole world.
So you have a bullet train trying to tow a mindful walker.
At 200 miles per hour.
That sounds catastrophic.
Yeah.
It sounds like road rash waiting to happen.
It is catastrophic for the child's internal state. And here's the problem with the adult ego, as Montessori analyzes it. We view our speed, the bullet train speed, as the correct speed.
Of course we do.
We think that is how life should be lived. We think speed equals competence. So when the child doesn't match it, when the walker refuses to sprint, we don't look at them and say, they have a different but equally valid rhythm.
No. We say, what is wrong with you?
We view them as defective. We view them as naughty. We view them as an obstacle to our efficiency. We impose our reality onto theirs and then judge them by standards that their biology simply cannot meet yet.
We think they're doing it to us.
Yes.
That's the key, isn't it? We take it personally. I think he is stalling because he knows I'm stressed.
But the sources are so clear about this. Rhythm is not a choice. It's an intrinsic characteristic of the individual, like the shape of their body. It is biological. You wouldn't get angry at a child for having small feet, would you?
No.
You wouldn't scream at them to grow bigger feet right now so we can walk fast.
That would be absurd. It sounds insane when you say it like that.
But we scream at them to change their internal timing. We demand a metabolic change on the spot. And Montessori uses this very visceral example to explain the pain adults feel when we are forced to adapt to a slower rhythm. It really helps us empathize, but it also exposes our selfishness.
Yes, I remember this from the notes. They talked about walking with someone who is physically impaired.
Right. Imagine you are walking down the street with someone who moves very, very slowly due to a physical limitation. Perhaps they are partially paralyzed or very elderly. They take one shaky step, they pause, then another. And you are healthy, energetic, and used to walking briskly. What do you feel inside?
Oh, it's impatience, anxiety, I feel, agony. My legs want to move. It's like a physical itch I can't scratch.
That is the anguish of rhythm conflict. You feel an urge, almost a compulsion, to help. You want to grab their arm and just pull them along, or better yet, just pick them up and carry them.
To help them get there faster.
But ask yourself, are you doing it because they need to get there faster? Or because you need to move faster?
Oof. It's because I need to move. I want to relieve my own suffering.
Exactly. You want to stop the irritation in your own nerves. And that is the hard truth. We apply that same anguish to our children. We see them struggling to put on a shoe or walking slowly to the car, and we feel that internal burn. So we try to save them from their slowness by doing things for them.
We swoop in.
We swoop in, we put on the shoes, we comb the hair.
And we tell ourselves, I'm such a helpful parent. Look at me helping my child get ready. But really, I'm just scratching my own itch.
You are serving your own rhythm, not the child's needs.
That is a massive realization.
Yeah.
Wow. And it leads us right into the next section of our deep dive, which is the mechanics of why we're so different. It's not just that we're fast and they're slow. It's that we're operating under completely different, laws of nature.
Correct. This is where we get into the law of least effort versus the law of growth.
Okay, let's break this down. The law of least effort. That sounds like my Sunday afternoon strategy.
It is the strategy of the adult world in general.
Yeah.
Why do adults rush? Why do we take shortcuts?
Because we have things to do. We have deadlines. We want to get the result.
Exactly. Adults naturally seek the most direct means to an end in the least amount of time. If I want to go up to the second floor, I will walk up the stairs in the most efficient way possible to get to the top.
Right.
My goal is the top floor. The stairs are just a tool. This is the law of least effort. It's our natural law. It's economic efficiency applied to movement.
Okay, so that's us. But the child.
The child follows the law of growth and development. Their goal is not the top floor. Their goal is the development of the self.
The source material uses the analogy of the stairs here, and I found this fascinating because I have seen this 100 times.
The child climbing the stairs? Oh, yes.
Yes, the adult climbs to get to the top. But the child, they climb up, they reach the top, and then what do?
They go back down, and they start again.
To an adult, that is insanity. It makes no sense. You reached the goal. Why are you undoing the progress?
Because for the child, the top floor was never the goal. The climbing was the goal. The movement of the leg, the coordination of the balance, the feeling of lifting the body weight, that was the purpose. The child is process-oriented. They are building a human being. They are constructing the coordination they will need for the rest of their life. The adult is result-oriented. We just want to get it done.
So when I stand at the bottom of the stairs and say, hurry up, let's go, I am essentially saying, stop building yourself.
Yeah.
Stop learning. Just achieve the arbitrary goal I have set.
Precisely. You are signaling to the child to stop thinking and stop growing.
That brings us right back to that idea of spiritual violence. It's not physical, but it's an attack on their entire developmental process.
It creates a panic state. When we rush them, we trigger panic mode instead of learning mode. We think we're saving time, but as the source material points out, we are actually wasting the opportunity. We are wasting the opportunity for the child to build concentration.
Right.
We are wasting the chance for them to refine their motor skills.
And we're teaching them that the result is more important than the effort, which is
a very dangerous lesson to learn too early.
Wow. Okay, I want to move to a specific story from the sources that really illustrates this help that hurts. It's the story of the comb.
Ah, yes. This is a narrative from Montessori's own observations. It's a heartbreaking but very common scene.
Set the scene for us. What's happening?
Okay, so picture a child. They're standing in front of a mirror, holding a comb. They are trying to comb their own hair.
No.
Now, to the adult watching, what does this look like?
It looks like a struggle. It looks messy. It looks like it's going to take 20 minutes, and the hair is still going to be tangled anyway.
Right. The adult sees a waste of time. But to the child, this is a noble ambition. This is a heroic act. They are mastering a tool. They are caring for themselves. They are coordinating their eye and hand. It is a moment of profound concentration and self-construction.
And then enter the adult.
Enter the adult, the giant. The adult sees the struggle, feels that anguish we talked about earlier, that internal itch, and swoops in. They physically take the comb away.
Here, let me do it. You're making a mess, or we don't have time for this.
Exactly. And they comb the hair, zip, zip, done. In the adult's mind, they have solved the problem. The hair is combed, time is saved, mission accomplished.
But from the child's perspective, what just happened?
Imagine you were working on a complex puzzle or maybe a painting you are deeply, deeply invested in. You're in the zone. And suddenly an enormous and powerful giant swoops down, rips the brush out of your hand, paints the rest of the picture in 2 seconds and says, there, done.
I would be furious. I would feel small, powerless.
Impotence, that is the word. The child sees this giant just crush their effort. And the source text uses a very powerful phrase here. The child feels assailed to the very fibers of his being.
Assailed to the very fibers of his being. That's so intense.
It is. Because their being is that effort. Their being is that process of growth. By taking it away, you aren't just taking a task, you are taking away their agency, their will. The result is not gratitude. The child doesn't look up and say, oh, thank you, mother, for saving me 5 minutes.
No, they cry, they throw themselves on the floor, they resent us.
They feel resentment and a deep sense of powerlessness. And this introduces the concept that Montessori calls substitution.
Substitution, okay.
It's when the adult substitutes their own personality and rhythm for the child's. We literally replace their will with ours. We replace their action with our own.
And the irony, as mentioned in the outline, is that we almost always do this out of love. We think we are helping. We have good intentions.
Yeah, we do. But Montessori calls it unconscious tyranny. It's a tyranny born of affection, perhaps. But it is tyranny nonetheless because it suppresses the spirit of the other person.
Unconscious tyranny. That's a term that sticks with you. It really challenges the whole idea of what it even means to serve a child.
Absolutely. And, often parents will push back on this. They'll say, but Dr. Montessori, you don't understand. If I let him do it, he takes forever. He gets distracted. He's just so slow.
Right. We interpret their slowness as a lack of intelligence or a lack of focus. We see it as a flaw.
But here's where it gets really, really interesting. The sources discuss a specific film experiment that completely flips our understanding of slow versus fast.
Okay, this is section 4 of our deep dive. The scientific evidence. I'm really curious about this. Tell us about this film experiment.
So this was an observation that was recorded on film, and it compared two groups of children. One group was children who were identified as defective, in the terminology of the time. This referred to children with intellectual disabilities or developmental delays. The other group was normal children from a Montessori environment.
Okay. And they were both given tasks to do.
Yes, they were both presented with objects and tasks to complete, and the observers simply watched their movements.
What do they see? Let's start with the first group, the defective group.
The children in that first group, they moved quickly, they were erratic, they touched many, many things. They'd pick something up, drop it, move immediately to the next thing. They abandoned tasks very quickly.
So no focus.
A total lack of focus. To the casual observer, they looked busy?
They look active. They look lively, maybe.
Exactly. And then they looked at the normal Montessori children. And these children, they moved slowly, they stopped to look around, they were reflective. When they handled an object, they did it with extreme care and intent. They were deliberate.
So you have slow and deliberate versus fast and chaotic.
And here is the interpretation trap. The shocking insight from the source material is that adults, when watching these films without context, often prefer the behavior of the defective children.
Wait, really? They prefer the erratic ones. Why?
Yes, because it's faster. It's less boring to watch. It feels more aligned with our adult rhythm of constant motion and change. We mistake that chaotic speed for liveliness or even for intelligence.
And so we mistake the slow, reflective nature of the normal child for, what? Laziness.
Laziness or lack of intelligence. We think, why is he just staring at that block? Why is he moving his hands so slowly? Come on, snap to it, get on with it.
That is mind-blowing. We are biologically wired to misunderstand the very signs of deep thought and intelligence in our own children.
We are wired to value speed, but the conclusion of the experiment is crystal clear. A normal, healthy child is slow because their movements are being controlled by their ego and guided by reason. They are thinking about every single movement.
Speed is the enemy of focus.
Speed is the enemy of focus. Think about it. When you are truly learning something new, think about when you learned to drive a car or learned a new language. Did you do it fast?
No.
Yeah.
I did it agonizingly slowly.
Yeah.
I had to think about every single gear shift, every mirror check.
Exactly. And if someone had screamed, hurry up, at you while you were learning to parallel park for the first time,
I would have crashed. I absolutely would have crashed.
the child is learning to parallel park their own body every single minute of every single day.
That is a beautiful way to put it. They're driving the vehicle of the body for the very first time.
And we are the honking horns right behind them.
Size. Okay. I feel the guilt rising. I think a lot of our listeners do too. We've all been the honking home. But this show isn't about guilt. It's about building humans. It's about love for all and service to all. So how do we fix this?
Yes.
How do we apply this philosophy in the real world on a Tuesday morning when we are late for work and the stakes are high?
This is the crucial part. Section 5. Applying the philosophy. We have to go back to the mission of the Al-Mahaba Foundation. Love and service.
So how do we serve a child who is making us late? It feels like a contradiction.
We have to redefine what service means in this context. Service to the child means adapting the strong to the weak.
Adapting the strong to the weak. Usually the world forces the weak to adapt to the strong.
That is the way of the world, but it is not the way of love. The adult is the strong one here. We have